Invite.
I just sent it to him.
All right, we're live, dude.
Hey, cool. Hey, good evening, guys. Sorry about the wait. We've been trying to get some technical issues sorted. First were mine, and then we're still waiting for Chris and trying to get that sorted. So hey, welcome to round 2, A Year of the Beast, and this kickoff calls just kind of get new people used to some of the maybe unique features of Year of the Beast, and then get some of those round 1 people and keep you pointed in the right direction, and just have another chance to touch base. So maybe for people that don't know, we can all go through and introduce ourselves. I'm David Jeffries. I like sarcasm and McDonald's. And I like lifting as heavily as I possibly can. That's a little about me. Wayne, you introduce yourself. You don't need to, but.
All right, I'm Wayne. Welcome everybody to the kickoff call for the Year of the Beast Round 2. I am excited for everybody that hung through the entire first round and all the new folks that are joining us this round. As you guys that are new to the group will see, we like to have fun in there. We like to have some good-humored poking at each other and stuff, and but we also like to, most importantly, encourage one another, hold each other accountable, and you know, sometimes it rubs people a little bit the wrong way, but we want this to be an elite group, and so we want to, you know, we want everybody to have some skin in the game and to have some accountability, and if you fall off the wagon, don't expect to be able to plug back in the next week and still be part of the group, because you won't be. But it's not because we're jerks. It's because we really want to set the bar high, because we know that's what it's going to take to help all of us be our best. That's what I want for myself. It's what all of us guys on this panel want for ourselves, and so it's what we want for you guys as well. So welcome and get ready to go hard.
Lance, you can just go down the line, whatever. Lance, you want to?
All right, cool. Yeah, what's up, guys? My name's Lance, and welcome to second round of Year of the Beast. We're really excited to have everybody. I'm sure tonight, you know, we're going to talk probably a little bit about nutrition, maybe some supplements, maybe go over, you know, I don't know, maybe we can each tell what our goals were for round 1 and what our goals are coming up for 2, 3, and 4. I would just encourage everybody to, you know, most people don't have a problem stepping out of their comfort zone and kind of participating in the group, but I encourage all of you guys to step out and really, you know, put some skin in the game and have fun and post in the group. You know, don't kind of hang back. Wayne started one of the first challenge groups ever with the Asylum group. I don't even remember what year that was, but you know, really that's how a lot of us guys became really close, became best friends, and why we're still doing this years later. We formed bonds in that group that I just can't tell you how close we are. We even, you know, vacation together, do all kinds of stuff together. So that's what these groups, to me, what they mean more than anything is just forming bonds and kind of helping support each other through the low times and the high times. And so I really just encourage you guys to step out and maybe even team up with somebody that you kind of jive with in the group and hold each other accountable so you can get through. You know, this isn't typical 90 days. We're going for a year here. So, so welcome.
Hey, cool. Hey, thanks. Mr. Lennon, the source of so much fun in the group, caught you drinking from
This is Jeff Lennon. My favorite thing in the world to do is make fun of these guys on the internet, specifically in different Facebook groups. I get a lot of pleasure from that. Hopefully you guys do too. Hopefully everything I write or say everyone takes with a grain of salt and realize I'm half kidding on everything, but also half serious. So enjoy the posts. I encourage everyone to have a lot of fun, bust each other's balls, be competitive, go out there, lift as much as you can while being safe, focus on your nutrition. Like Lance said, get engaged in the group, make friends with people, comment on other people's posts, try and be everyone's cheerleaders, pick people up when they're down, encourage people when they post pics. just have a lot of fun and be positive. These guys are my best friends in the world. We have so much fun together. We'd be doing this even if no one else is on the call, so try and get engaged and enjoy this and get the most you can out of this group.
And it's like Chris is showing up.
Is Chris here?
I saw his avatar.
I like that.
Yeah, he's getting on there, so while he's getting loaded up, I guess I'll go. I'm Chet Nichols. I can't tell you how excited I am about this myself. I was, felt like a good honor when these guys invited me to be in this group with them, and it's been an awesome ride, and this is just the beginning of the journey and everything too. And only thing I really want to say is, remember, this is a team, this is a family. Motivate each other, stay involved. We have fun, but we also, take this very seriously at the same time. And we're all here to answer your questions and stuff. And if something falls in the cracks and you have a question for somebody, doesn't get answered, that means, bump the question to the top, message one of us or somebody else, and we'll get back to you, because I'm telling you, this gets really, really busy, and there's tons of comments and posts out there every day. And even though we have, 6 people up here, it's still hard to keep up with it. But that's an awesome problem to have, because that just means everybody's engaged and involved in this so much. So again, ask all the questions you want. If you don't get the any answers, contact us and we'll get right to you, because we don't want anybody left behind. We want everybody involved in this, and just having a good time doing it, because the first round was a great success, and we got 3 more to go. So it's really going to be an awesome ride. And you're intimidating me over there, Jeff, right now by pumping over there. Made me lose my train of thought. No, just kidding.
Hey, thanks, Chet. Hey, Chris, welcome, man. Hey, we're just kind of introducing ourselves, so why don't you take a stab here?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I guess technical difficulties always come into play. So, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I'm Chris Coburn, and I think most of what the guys already said, pretty much covers it all. For the most part, like Jeff mentioned, we like to give each other a hard time. So I know a few people might have had some trepidations about that, maybe if you're new to the group, but it's all well in fun and games. So don't take it personally. No one's here to kind of call anybody out and make fun of anybody. We're all here to just push each other to the next level. So most of the time I'm going to be available through the group. If I don't catch a message that you tagged me in, feel free to just follow up with me, and I'll hurry up and get back to you as soon as possible. So that's about it.
No, those are really good points. I think the big thing that a bunch of you noticed this week is the dynamic of moving from a group that has existed, and they're introducing a new group and things changing. So hopefully you didn't excuse yourself because you got upset. Hopefully you're still here. But there's a lot of good stuff ahead, and I think the big thing, and Wayne, you hit on it, and then Lance hit on it again. We're just 6 guys. Like, shoot us a message. If something's really rubbing you the wrong way, like, send us a message. It sometimes seems that you're gonna solve the whole world's problems by spouting something online, but if you really think you got an issue, shoot us a message. We want to work with everybody, and we will work with everybody. So I'll take first big thing that you noticed in the banner, if you're new to the group, or if maybe you just need a refresher, is the FAT. That's an online form, the fitness activity tracker. It's in the file section. You just need to do it every week. It's available Friday morning and then all the way through Saturday, and I turn it off sometimes Sunday morning. And it's just for you to track your progress and for us to have a way to make sure people are plugged in. That being said, again, if you read the banner, if you're going to be gone, send us an email. We're not going to kick you off if you're in the mountain somewhere and you don't have cell phone service, or if heaven forbid something happens to a family member and you can't do it. That we'll work with you. So make sure you get that in. But we're also after my horrible attempt at a grace week, there will be no more grace. I gave it all out and it's gone. So you miss that and you don't tell us, kind of so too sorry for you, but you'll be out. So, and I oversee that. So if you want the direct guy to talk to, just send me a message. But that's kind of the maintenance of it. I don't know, Lance, maybe if you want to hit on it, because it was a really big thing last time. But do you want to talk a little about guys that maybe want to work on bumping up their maintenance calories? They might be stuck.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. So you guys might know, might not know. Well, let me first start by saying, and I'm sure Jeff can talk about it too, but you're gonna want to do one of two things. You're either gonna be cutting, bulking, or reverse dieting. And if you're not sure where you fall, talk to your coach or message one of us. 3 years ago when I did P90X and Insanity and all that stuff, I cut my calories too much, and I actually went through a period where I was doing everything right. I was working out, 6-7 days, and I wasn't losing weight, and I couldn't figure out why. And Jeff, naturally gave me crap about it, and that's okay. And then David sent me a video and said, hey, check this out. This might be what you're going through. And it was, and I think, what I had done is I had just crashed my metabolism. So I really fought with that mentally about, eating more and losing weight. And Jeff kept challenging me and saying, look, dude, eat 2,700 calories. You're gonna be better off. And so what I did was, I was eating like 1,800 calories and wasn't losing weight, and it was really, really frustrating. So I started the first year of the Beast Round out by eating 2,400 calories. The first week, I went up, I think, 3 pounds, and naturally, it raised my ears, and I got really scared and worried that I was just putting on a bunch of weight. Jeff told me to shut up, stay the course, so I did. And in 3 weeks, my weight started to go down. And I had never been able to eat 2,400 calories and my weight go down. So after 3 weeks, I bumped it again. I went to 2,600, and same thing, weight kept coming off. Another 3 weeks, I got to 28, and kind of started to level out. And when I bumped to 3,000, I started putting on a little bit of body fat and weight. And that took me to the actual cutting phase where I dropped it back down to 26. And my weight started to go back down. So for me, that was really cool because I started cutting at 2,600 calories, where before I wasn't even able to cut at 1,800. So I think when you're getting into this, you got to figure out, what's right for you and what your goals are, whether that's to cut. And if you bottomed your metabolism out, obviously you don't want to go the cutting route. Reverse dieting is probably what's going to be in your best interest, in my opinion, and that's going to take a while and it takes longer, but it's better off for your body. Or whether you're somebody like Jeff or any of the other guys. I think I'm the only one, but all the other guys, can go to bulking and eating 6,000 calories a day, and they're wonderful. But for me, that's not the path I'm on. Mine's a little bit longer and a little bit rougher just because of what I've done to my metabolism. So you just kind of have to figure out what you want to do. I don't know if Jeff wants to touch on that or not, or say I told you so or whatever.
I would never say that, Lance. But just to add to that, I know we've said it before, when you're adjusting your calories, only adjust them 200 or 300 calories at a time, max, and let it sit for 3 weeks, no matter what happens. You have to see how it plays out. Like Lance said, there's going to be short-term fluctuations. You need to ignore it. In fact, put the scale away for a week, or only weigh yourself once a week. I don't even weigh myself at all. But just make small adjustments and see how you go. Keep pushing to see what that upper limit that you have is for your maintenance calories. The whole goal of this is to get those maintenance calories higher and higher and higher. So then when we start to cut, some people will cut at the end of this round, some people will cut next year, you'll be able to cut at a much higher calorie level. And with those higher calories, you'll be able to push harder and keep pushing more weight, which is important. And I wanted to touch on that a little bit. So I'm a big proponent of high calories and reverse dieting, like Lance talked about. but I think you really need to think about during your workouts, how hard are you pushing? Now, I know everybody thinks they're pushing hard, but in order to get some type of cardio effect out of beast, because there's not really any cardio, your shirt should be drenched at the end of every workout. I mean, you should be wiped. You should be exhausted. You should be able to wring it out. And if you can't wring it out, then you should be pushing a little bit harder or pausing a little bit less. Now, I'm a proponent of pausing during the workouts if you need to change weights or whatever, but one of the things that I did during my first run-up to Year of the Beast was I tried to keep, when I was cutting, to keep the same weights without pausing and keep up with Siggy's pace, which is really, really hard to do to switch weights that fast, but keep the intensity and push hard. So in addition to the diet, make sure you're pushing every day in your workouts and pushing really hard with intensity.
Very cool. And I think maybe just as I was listening to you again, Lance, I think a good caveat too for people. You had already lost 75 pounds or so at that point, right?
Yeah, yes, true.
So you just want to be honest with your goals. If your goal is to lose body fat, that's your main goal. You're trying to drop weight. That's where you are. You shouldn't be afraid of a deficit. You don't have to do anything crazy. But at the same time, don't think you're going to follow the book of the beast and get shredded, because the first 2 months are going to have you on a bulk, and then you're going to cut. I mean, if you're not already decently low body fat, you have a great chance to put on a lot. That's just any time you eat at a surplus.
Yeah, and I think the book of the beast is assuming that everybody has a healthy metabolism, and I don't, and you need to take that into account when you're going straight from the book, because if I think the book of the beast had me starting out at 2,700, maybe even more. I can't remember because it's been so long, but that was not right for me starting out. I would have been adding a lot of weight, I think.
And just to add something for the round 2 people, I know a lot of people are planning on bulking first round, second round, and cutting next year. A lot of us have reached that slippery slope territory of bulking where you have so many calories you can work in those double quarter pounders every other day. And when you start having that kind of stuff, and I'm an advocate of it, I like it, but it becomes dangerous, and you can really cross that line pretty easily. So you need to make sure you're still tracking and it's not getting out of control. But with that being said, also a lot of us top coaches know how our bodies are going to respond when we cut, so we can push it maybe a little bit farther if you've never done this before. So we're advocating bulking and adding a bunch of calories, but if you've never done this before or never gotten super shredded before, you might want to be a little bit more conservative, because you don't know how your body's going to react to the cutting. I mean, I know that I can dial it in for a month and I'll be in pretty good shape, so I can push it a little bit harder, but just keep it under control. And if you're having those treats, and I'm seeing a lot of people post pictures of their treats and their big steaks, and those are all good things, just make sure that that doesn't steamroll into something bad or causes you to fall off the wagon anyway. So just make sure you keep it in check, and make sure you're tracking everything you eat.
Definitely. If you don't mind, I want to add something there, because Jeff hit a good point about if you haven't cut before, knowing how your body reacts. For anybody who's waiting to do the cut at the end of the year and you've never cut before, I suggest that you consider doing at least a mini cut somewhere at the end of this round or the next, because you need to see how your body reacts in a cut. Not everybody reacts the same way. It may only take one person to just drop a couple of hundred calories and they're going to go into active fat loss. The next person, who may weigh the same thing, may need to do a whole 500 or more to go into active fat loss. The point is, you got to know how your body's going to react, so later on down the road, especially the folks who want to do the classic next year, you don't want to wait and start your cut without knowing how your body is going to react. And to add that a little bit, if it's been a while since you've done a cut and you spent a lot of time bulking, you may not react the same way you did, say, 6 months to a year ago on a cut. So again, some sort of a cut either at the end of this round or the next round, I highly suggest, before you go into your contest prep or whatever the case would be. Like Jeff said, man, he knows what he has to do. any day he can just turn around and hit his plan, and he knows he's going to nail it. And that also gives you a little level of comfort to know where you're going to be at and how your body's going to react. So take that time. It's well worth it, because you can really, make a big mistake, and you may, cut your calories, 500 when you only needed to cut it 200. So why would you do that? You want to be able to eat as much food as possible while you're still doing an active fat loss. So give yourself a little chance to do a mini cut somewhere, 2 or 3 weeks. If you need some help with that, any of us will help you, but just take that into consideration.
No, that is good. Being a product of Wayne, I'm always in the camp of, especially if it's your first time doing any program, normally you're in the place where you need to cut body fat first, and usually that's a good place to start and see how it goes. But hey, Wayne, maybe coming to you, knowing some of your situation, what, as guys and gals, maybe have different equipment options, what do you change up from doing the Beast workouts as is? What are your typical changes?
As far as like my typical changes, just because Body Beast has been out for what, over 2 years? 2 years, and really it's been my go-to program ever since it first launched. So I went through by the book at least probably 3 or 4 rounds, and then also did rounds where I did the tempo workouts, and so I got real familiar with that. And just to give myself some variety, I got barbell and a power rack and some Olympic weights so that I could kind of add some variety and do more power lifts as part of the Beast workout. So what I did pretty much ever since I got that stuff, which was after Jeff and David got it and made me jealous, so then I got it. But subbing bench presses for any of the dumbbell presses, subbing real Olympic barbell deadlifts instead of the deadlifts, using it for straight leg deadlifts, using it for squats, and whenever I do those kind of substitutions, then it's going to take me a little bit longer, because if you've got a whole squat rack set up, you're going to have to pause. It's going to it adds probably to go through the squat sequence takes me an extra at least 5-7 minutes compared to them just grabbing dumbbells and going, because when you're grabbing dumbbells, you may grab 50s or however much weight you've got, but that's a whole lot different than throwing a lot of weight on there and doing reps like that. It's going to tax your body a lot more. So on those where I do substitutions, if you've got equipment, you want to do it, great. You don't need it though. That's what I've always said is, you look at the first 2 years that I did anything, I was doing it in my living room with nothing but adjustable dumbbells that went up to 55 pounds or 52 pounds or whatever, and a pull-up bar on my door frame. So, and I got in phenomenal shape doing that. So don't feel like you have to have that just because a lot of the guys will post pictures. Those of us that are on here that have some fancy gadgets in our garage and stuff to really be able to work out with some modifications. Don't feel like you're missing out or that you can't get awesome results and can't get completely bulked up and shredded without if you don't have that stuff, because you can. It's a matter of how hard you work and how much you work your muscles and how much you're willing to push yourself and push your muscles. They'll respond, and they don't care if it's your muscles don't care if you're doing as many pull-ups as you can do, or if you've got a fancy belt that's holding extra weight on you while you do your pull-ups. You use what you've got, use the tools that you have at your disposal, but give it 100%, and you'll get great results. It's just for adding extra variety. I've enjoyed doing that. Is that the question? Is that answer the question, or did you have some other things you want me to talk about?
Really good. I was just looking at the Facebook group here real quick. Chris, maybe you want to give your take on this. I had a question about specifically progressive sets and then moving through sets when you're going up and down. How do you determine what you're increasing and decreasing by, and do you max out each of those sets? Because me personally, I think the 15 rep sets are always burners. Those are not enjoyable.
Yeah, no, this is actually a change in how I tend to approach things. After kind of conversations with Jeff, maybe it's at the beginning of this round, I've been mixing that thing up, the number of reps up for a while now. And I think you've alluded to this in the past too, David, about using that first set as kind of a warm-up set. And so I kind of approach it that way too, but I don't typically go to the 15 reps all the time. It just kind of depends how my body or that particular muscle group is reacting. If I feel like it's gotten enough out of 12 reps, then that's what I'll go to. And then for the 12 or 8 count sets, I really crank it up. So that 10 to 12th rep on that second set is a burner. I mean, it's tough to get that. They're almost cheat reps, those last couple. So, and the same thing with 8. I really try and focus on form as well, so that I'm not getting out of form in those last couple of reps. But if I have to cheat a little bit to get those last couple done, then I do that. But I really try and focus on getting as much weight as possible. And as Jeff alluded, and I think Lance mentioned this at one time too. This is where the Force That Shit hashtag came from. Was that if you're tracking your workouts like you should be with the worksheets and whatnot, and you look at where you've been over the last couple of workouts, and you're still at that same same number of reps or same weight, then you need to move up, and that's kind of, again, since Lance mentioned that, I've really tried to do that. If not every third workout, every second workout, really move up at least a little bit, as much and where you can. Obviously, the smaller muscle groups, it's tougher to do that, but some of the larger muscle groups, I mean, you guys really need to, as everyone's already kind of alluded, push yourselves in every one of these workouts.
And one other thing I'll add to the reps is something I've been doing for a little while now is on any of the major compound movements, instead of going 15, 12, 8, I always go 12, 9, 6. Just because I like that rep range a little better. I like 12 as an upper end, and 6 is a lower end for kind of the combination between strength and hypertrophy. Felt like you said, if you're doing a set of 15 and then a set of 12, if you're going hard on both those sets, you're pretty much toast and done by then, and you don't really get, I don't think, as good of a power set on that 8 because you're too fatigued just metabolically from doing that many reps. So I like to go 12, 9, 6 on the compound movements. On the isolation and single stuff like curls and those kind of things, I still do a 15, 12, 8.
I agree with that, and I'll add another question people have is, which one do you move up, the 15, the 12, or the 8? For me personally, I always move the 8. The 8 should be moved most frequently. Like we said, the 15 is kind of a warm-up. That stays the same forever. If the 8 gets too far away from what the 12 rep range is, then I'll move that one up. But the 8 rep, the end of the set, is what I'm moving up the most, hopefully every couple of weeks. The way I work it is I'm very happy to get 6. And then if I have to cheat, like Chris said, on 7 and 8, that's fine. Sometimes I can. I take very good notes I always write down the good number of reps I had. And then if I can make my way up to 8 clean reps, then I write the next weight for next week up 5 pounds or up 10 pounds or whatever I need to go up. So you should always be pushing to get that last set to be heavier and heavier, and that's where you're going to get the biggest hypertrophy. And if the span between the 8 and the 12 is too big, then move that one up a couple weeks later.
We lose David?
Seems like it.
We may have.
I think we may have. I want to just real quick on something that Wayne said about the first couple of years. He was just doing this stuff in his living room with, a relatively, small set of weights and stuff. I was the same way. My first year, I guess, or so, I don't think I had anything over a 40-pound dumbbell, and I still had, great results. Won a couple of the Beachbody challenges with nothing but 40s and below. And during that time, I focused more on my form than anything else. So now, progress a little bit. I get those last couple of sets, like Chris said, about doing a little bit cheaters at the end. Yeah, I do that as well, but I spend a lot of time working on my form, and actually it kind of forced me to lower my weights a little bit. I found out real quick when I was doing proper form, I couldn't lift near as much as I could, when I'm using momentum and a lot of secondary muscles to swing the weights. But that has some good unintended consequences, because when I did that, that's when I saw the most growth, I guess, at any time, in the last couple of years, was dropping the weights, focusing on my form, and then building up from there is, the best thing, something I'm very much an advocate for. So something else to consider. If you find yourself doing cheaters, too much other than those last couple of reps, drop it, focus on the form. If you're worried because you think you don't have enough weights, chances are, if you focus more on your form than what you have available to you, you'll get some good results.
Yeah, I would also add that there's times where I thought I wanted to go up in weight, and I didn't hit the number of reps that I wanted to, and that's going to happen. So don't feel bad about that. You're going to have what I call crappy workouts from time to time. So just write it down, make note of it, and just adjust and stay with that weight for the next workout. And maybe the next time you go to actually do it, you'll be able to hit it that time. But don't get too frustrated with yourself if you try and go up in weight and you simply can't do it. Just back off, finish the reps, and come back the next time stronger.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add on that. I don't know if you guys covered it because I left for just a second, but I will sometimes on rep 6, 7, and 8. If my form breaks down a little bit, I'm okay with that. So I'm not strict form police on those last couple reps as long as I know I'm pushing myself. I don't know how you guys are on that, but to me it's not that big of a deal as long as I'm safe. Hey, David's back. What's up, David?
Hey, sorry, dad duty. John was having some good night terrors, so so you guys, when I left, were talking about kind of transitions from the rep ranges.
Right.
Okay, yeah, Lance, I'm right with you. I think there's good form on cheat reps.
Yeah.
You don't have to compromise your back. You don't have to compromise any angle. But getting body English into certain movements is okay. I mean, within reason. But you got to know yourself. And again, the nice thing, especially about using dumbbells, it can get a pain when you're really moving up in weight, especially for grip strength and things like that. But the nice thing about dumbbells is you can just drop them. I mean, that's what makes using dumbbells really safe, is that you can just drop them. And if you're incorporating barbell movements in, just encourage you to know how to get out of a sticky situation. Practice with a really light weight. I mean, if you're using your squat rack and you've never had to dump weight on your pins or on your safeties, try that a couple times. Or if you're benching and you don't, know if your pins are set correctly, make sure you know that. I know I can touch my chest. As long as I move it about 2 inches up, then it touches the safeties. So when I fail, I hit my chest and I roll it towards my neck and I can slide out. I don't hurt myself. But I haven't hurt myself yet. But just know that. I'm trying to see here.
Question about dumbbells.
Question on kind of dumbbells that you can dial a weight in, so adjustable versus individual. A lot of you guys have had both. Any big wisdom there? I mean, if you can afford real dumbbells and a big rack, go for it. You're never going to be sorry.
Yeah, I think it's the expense versus convenience. Or if you get adjustable dumbbells, you can get more weight in a shorter amount of time. Having individual dumbbells, you would choose it every time if you had the space and the money. But both work.
Yeah, the only reason I bought adjustables when I started is because I was on the road all the time for work, and I didn't know what the hotel gyms were gonna have. So I actually brought my dumbbells with me when I went on the road. So that was kind of nice. But if I had the money and I was working out at home, I would get the singles for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, and you're not, despite people's preferences, you're not going to go wrong with Selectex or Power Blocks, and guys that have both can tell you why they like either or, but you're not going to go wrong with either of those if you're going to get a set of adjustable. Jeff, you kind of hit on this, and I don't know, maybe a more direct answer, but question for, is it better to go the pace of the DVD to get more out of the workout, cardiovascularly, or is it better to go as heavy as possible and take breaks when needed?
I like to do a little of both, to be honest with you. Like Wayne said, when you do the big compound exercises, when you're benching, squatting, and deadlift, take some time. Let your ATP replenish and be able to do a little bit more. So when I'm doing those exercises, I'll actually set my timer for 2 minutes in between sets because I like to go really heavy. But if I'm doing curls, I bust my butt to keep up with Sagi because that's a smaller muscle group and I want to burn it out. So most of the things I try and keep up. I keep my DVD remote handy. If I usually only go back to if I have to switch weights and it slows down, then I'll hit the back button. But on the big exercises, anything that uses a big muscle group, I will slow it down. For instance, on the heavy set of dumbbell rows, takes my breath away. So I always have to take an extra 30 seconds there. But, keep an internal clock. Don't just let it be like until I'm not tired anymore. At most, it should be, unless it's an Olympic or a barbell exercise, at most it should be a minute because a minute is the maximum amount for hypertrophy. So, keep a timer. I have my iPhone. I set the timer if I'm going to pause it, unless it's just changing weight. So it's a little mix of both.
Nice. If anybody wants to jump on that, Jeff covered it well. We're I don't want to keep people's time too much, but this, if we each take a couple minutes, this will be good. Hey, Chet, we'll start with you. One thing, maybe your most important thing you'd tell a new person in the group, and what would be a takeaway for someone coming into round 2? Is Chet there?
There we go. We there? Well, a lot of the things that I would tell a new person, we've already kind of touched on. So I will touch on something else that I've seen a lot of questions asked about. And, everybody gives a different take because, some of us may have different opinions on this. But, a lot of people ask, when I'm looking at my calories versus my macros, what's more important? To me, I'm going to tell you, hitting your macros are. Because if you hit your macros, in my opinion, you're going to, everything takes care of itself. And, depending on what app you use, most of them calculate a little bit differently, although typically in the United States it's supposed to be net carbs. But you go and take a look at a Quest bar, and you calculate the macros on there. You're going to see that the calories don't add up to what you're going to see on the bar itself. I think it's up like 40 or 50 because they count net carbs. But so for me, I would say stick to your macros. Now, actually, what I would say is more important. If you don't like that, that's fine, but stay consistent. If you're going to follow just your calories, stick to just the calories. If you're going to follow your macros, stick to just the macros, because over time it's really relative anyway. But if you bounce back and forth, you can kind of mess yourself up. Again, this is just my opinion. For people that are new in the group, you really, it's just kind of like everybody said. You really got to push yourself. I try to hit a new goal every time on something. Maybe it's one more rep on a curl. Maybe it's 2.5 pounds on something. Somewhere find something that you improve on each time. At least that's what I do, because I like to see progress. And I know in my mindset that I get a little discouraged if today is the same thing I did the last workout or yesterday, and that gets a little discouraging sometimes. And I'm kind of a geeky nerd like that. I even go as far as tracking my volume every single workout. I calculate it, and I see the percentages of differences between each workout. I mean, again, I know it may be a little anal, but that's what I do, and I always like to see some sort of a percentage difference somewhere. If I do that, then I know I'm progressing. And I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying find some way to measure your progress other than what's just on the sheet. Maybe you rate yourself each day on, I felt like I was a 9 today on I was really good, or a 10 today on energy, or something like that. Just find something that you can show some sort of progress each time. I think it sets a healthy mindset, and when you see that progress over time, you're going to really feel good, and it's going to kind of motivate you to do things even more. So again, newbies, either stick to either macros or calories. Don't bounce back and forth. Guys and gals, if you're second round, find some way to be sure you are tracking some sort of progress each time. Shoot to be 1% better in each workout, and you'll see some phenomenal gains.
Very cool. Hey, we got some good questions coming in, so that was me filling some time that I thought would be worthwhile. But hey, good question here from Derek. Besides Shakeology, what are all our current supplements? And I'll start because I'm not excited at all. So I have Shakeology, and it's vegan because my stomach turned into a 8-year-old girl with dairy. I don't know why. So really, I take Shakeology. I had been cutting a little bit for some races that I'd been running, so I had brought in some just bulk BCAAs, some unflavored stuff. I'm a fan of stimulants, so pre-workouts normally in the mix, and that's got some good stuff. And then just plain, creatine monohydrate, and that's really all I do. And the pre-workouts just because, again, I like the boost in the morning. I don't think it has any magical powers. But Wayne, what are you using?
Well, pre-workout, I don't take a specific pre-workout, but I do, since I work out first thing on what would otherwise be an empty stomach, I make my own concoction, which is just 1 scoop of Results Recovery formula, so it's like 110 calories, and a scoop of Extend BCAAs, which is like 7 grams of BCAAs. It says 0 calories on the label, but that would obviously be like 28 calories. Since it's protein, it's BCAAs, and then a scoop of creatine is like 5 grams. And that's it. So I used to use beta-alanine. Used to use 1,3-dimethyl, the DMAA. But I kind of just decided to give that stuff up because I was becoming immune to it. So now it's just Results Recovery and Extend and creatine as a pre-workout, and then Shakeology with whey protein and a banana post-workout, and that's about it. I mean, throughout the day I may have a scoop or 2 of whey protein mixed with water, depending on my macro goals and what else I'm eating during that day. But that's about it.
Sweet. Lance, you got any big changes?
No changes. I'm still obviously doing Shakeology, creatine, and then Results Recovery formula. But right now I'm only doing 1 scoop post-workout. I do pre-workout. I'll go usually 2 months on and 1 month off just to get. I have a really high tolerance. There was one point in my lifting career where I took. I don't even know if I should say this publicly, but like 3 scoops at a time, and I didn't feel it at all. So I've had to kind of like adjust and realize that I have a problem. Although I did hear there's. Since DMAA isn't in pre-workouts now, what is it, DMBA? So I'm looking for some of that. So no, I'm kind of teasing. But no, I'm not. I'm actually not doing any pre-workouts at the moment. Just Shakeology, creatine, and R&R. But I did look at the list that has DMBA on it and saw what pre-workouts are in that. So maybe we'll see.
Nice. Jeff, what about you, man?
I've changed up a bit recently. I work out first thing in the morning, and I was starting to bonk recently at the end of my workout. So I now wake up and I put a scoop of R&R in my pre-workout, which is either E&E or lately I've been doing the pump for all that David had recommended. And I also mix the Great Lakes collagen in with that. And then immediately post-workout, I actually really like the Beast supplements. I take the Beast supplements, Fuel Shot, hardcore base shake, creatine mixed with grape juice. It's 550 calories slammed right after the workout. I like that. And then about an hour later, I have my Shakeology. Oh, also I have the BCAAs that I sip on during my workout. But other than that, and a pile of Quest bars a day, that's all I take.
Nice. Chris, what about you, man?
Yeah, pretty similar to the rest of the guys. Pre-workout. Right now, I'm taking a break. So I'll probably pick that back up after the first of the month or something. But so really, I don't take anything more than creatine and some BCAAs in the morning. And then during the workout, I'll also have some BCAAs. And then post-workout is just results of recovery, Shakeology whey, that sort of thing. In the past, I've taken some CLA and fish oil and stuff, but right now I'm not doing any of that. So I might do that after the first of the year, but right now it's pretty minimal at the most.
Nice. Chet, you got a secret stash there?
No, actually, I've kind of tailored back on my stash. Actually, I do Shakeology, a protein scoop of protein, and creatine in the morning. I've weaned myself off of the pre-workouts now. I haven't been really using those unless I'm just totally bonked for probably about a little over 2 months. What I do is I really load up about 30% of my carbs about an hour and a half before workout, and then 30% of my carbs are either in a meal or a little bit of a supplement like Fuel Shot about an hour after. So I'm getting about 60% of my carbs within that 3 to 4 hour window, and it has worked phenomenal for me. Phenomenal. I go into my workouts now so amped up just from the carbs and everything else. I don't need a pre-workout, and it's been an eye-opening for me experience. But again, everybody has bad days, sluggish days, or whatever. So I do have some E&E on hand in case I need it. But that's really pretty much it. Just the 1 scoop of protein in the morning with Shakeology, my creatine. And then, and of course, I use my BCAAs out during the day. I extend, I love it. Kind of sip on that throughout the day, but that's really it. So I've really tailored off on a lot of those.
Very cool. Just looking, we can wrap this up. Good questions coming in. Ron pointed out that he didn't hear any of us taking Suma. Jeff, are you still taking Suma?
Oh yeah, that's part of the B supplements. I take that every day.
Nice.
I actually take Suma every day too. I forgot to add that.
It's like a vitamin.
It is.
Nice.
I think it works. I honestly do.
Very cool. I had a question. I just field a question about is Sagi still planning something after round 2 for the round 1 through 2 folks? Honestly, don't know. That was him. I don't know how much weight to put on it. I mean, you're free to tag him in the group and hassle him, and more power to you. But I don't know. Chad was asking about the anabolic window, and that's really what Chet hit on, trying to really buffer his carbs around his workout. Personally, I'll answer personally. You're not gonna lose all your gains by not slamming a protein shake within 30 minutes of your workout. It's a long average. It's all the food you eat. I've never seen that to be true in my life. I don't know. Anybody else feel the anabolic window is really crucial to them?
I'll clarify on that. That's not the reason I do it, because I'm kind of like you. I'm not sure if that is the anabolic window or not. There's some theories on that and whatnot, and I think people can cherry pick whether that's actually true or not based on what they tell you the reasons are. Mine is more about convenience, time, the way it makes me feel during my workout, and the way if I feel afterwards. So anabolic window, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it's not the reason I do what I do.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
I'll add to that. What Chet said, I slam the B supplements, anabolic window or not. I feel better when I have it immediately after my workout. If I don't have it for 45 minutes, I drag all day, and it's hard to take down. But if I take it immediately, I feel better instantly.
Very cool. Question here, and I can jump on it or anybody else. Question asks, should you take creatine before or after your workouts or both? I only take it after, but I don't really think it matters. I mean, I think I could take it 4 p.m. every day. It's just maintaining that supply.
Yeah, I agree. I've read research where they've studied doing it before, doing it after, and it's really just having your blood levels up, and I don't remember what the half-life of it is, but it's pretty consistent. So if you're taking it once a day, it's always going to be available in your blood supply. So I don't think it matters if you take it before or after or at different time of the day, really.
No, like I said, I take mine in the morning, and I don't work out in the morning. From what I understand, and y'all guys can correct me on this or not, but some of the stuff that I've read, and actually emailed Lane Norton, and he emailed me back and said that no, you can take it. It doesn't matter. The whole point is to have yourself saturated throughout the day. So as long as you take it on a consistent basis, like Wayne was saying, then you're pretty good to go. Oh, and he also said anything more than 5 grams, not needed. That's the man himself.
It is the man himself. Good question, Tony. Can you talk about carb loading? Anybody really carb load?
We're all carb loading right now, right?
What do you say, Wayne?
I've done carb cycling, but I don't think that's the same thing.
This is bulking though, but I don't carb load.
No, again, I've done a refeed day while cutting, which I think helped energy levels, but that's all I've done.
I think it really depends on the context of the question. What are they referring carb loading to? Did they specify?
Are you a politician? Are you friends with Obama?
That's code, man. I will see you in July.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So Tony, sorry.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, if they come back and ask that might be a little easier to answer that question.
Sure. Well, and I don't want to keep everybody all night. Anybody feel like they got a nugget of wisdom to pass on?
Yeah, let me just throw this out there. This isn't designed to be like a super fast, transformation. So it's something that we all have to keep in mind, that this is a long-term thing that we're in right now. Because I know for me, I've never gone this long, as a long-term goal before. I've always done single rounds, and I've always wanted to look really good and cut at the end of a round. And so, it's been something that I've had to kind of change my own perspective on, because of the fact that we're doing this over the course of a year. And if I want to add mass over the course of the year, I've got to be willing to follow through with that, because as soon as I start to see my abs not looking as good, it's hard to stick to the plan, because it makes me want to just immediately cut back and go into a cutting phase again. And if I continue to do that, I'm never going to make consistent mass gaining. And so, it's been hard for me right now. I weigh 240 pounds right now, so I don't know what's going to happen when I do that Spartan race. It's going to kill me. But you compare that, and anybody that's seen my videos or pictures after X2 or after P90X, I was like about 212 pounds then. So I'm a whole lot heavier now than I was then, and I'm not nearly as shredded or ripped. So it's something I'm trying to cope with, because I want to, at the end of 9 more months from now, I want to look ripped but also weigh 230 pounds or something. So it's something I have to stay consistent with and stick to the long-term goal. And so I'd encourage all of you guys that are in this, whether you're just starting now or you're starting your second round, think about the long-term goal that you have and stick to the plan. If you're right now still trying to lose body weight and lose body fat, don't see people posting pictures of their McDonald's meals and stuff and get really frustrated, because you're on a different plan than them. Stick to your plan. And if you're, whatever your workout plan is, whatever, if you're doing a hybrid because you've got other things coming up that you want to focus on and give attention to, that's great. Do that and stick to your plan. Know your plan and stick to your plan, for your own performance goals, for your own diet goals, and just be willing to understand what your body composition is going to do over the course of these next several months, and be willing to think long-term like that, because that's the way it's going to pay off for you in the long term. Right now, I'm dealing with the injury in my AC joint, and so I'm pretty bummed about that, because for the next 2 weeks I have to really go light and let this thing start to get feeling better. And it's like, if I was thinking short term, I think, no, I just got to somehow get through my workout and push as much weight as I can, and then it's just not going to get better if I keep doing that. So, you know, I'm going to have to back off for a couple weeks and go light weights on everything and say goodbye to all my gains for a couple weeks. But it's because I'm thinking long term. It's what I got to do to get myself feeling good and think about my long term strategy. So, you know, all you guys, you're going to hit hiccups in the road, and you're going to hit things that, you know, that you may have to adjust for in turn, you know, to keep your long term strategy intact. Do it and stick with the group. And don't be frustrated because of the fact that other people got a different strategy and are posting pictures or something that are different than what your plan is, because we're all in this together.
Hey, I'll be real quick on this because I'm glad you brought that up, Wayne, because, you know, I've been adding quite a bit weight lately too. You know, the abs are not there like they used to be and stuff like that, and I was kind of playing a mental game with me. So I actually did about a week of a mini cut where I dropped my carbs down by about 100 grams a day just for a few days. Not a big depletion or anything, but guess what? By the 4th day, they were showing up again. Why? Water. When you're bulking and you're adding a lot of carbs and things like that, you're going to hold a little more water than you normally do in a surplus. At least most people do, and I did. So about the 5th or 6th day, you know, they were showing up pretty good again. So when I went back to my normal macros, 4 or 5 days, guess what? They were gone again. And I'm not losing fat. I'm not gaining fat in that week or so. It was water. So keep that in mind. You know, maybe you got some things that are disappearing out there, guys and gals. It's okay. If you're bulking, expect it, deal with it, because, you know, you're not going to put a ton of fat on just like that if you're keeping your macros where they should be. Trust the system, keep pushing forward, and just know, you know, you're going to be holding some water, a little more than you normally would when you're in a bulk. That's it.
Very cool. Final words from anybody?
I just wanted to add one thing for the new people and for people in the second round. When you're working out, embrace the pain. That doesn't mean hurt yourself, but the work really starts when you want to drop it. When it starts to really hurt and, you know, you want to let go of that weight and not do any more, that's when you need to get 1 or 2 more. Because those 1 or 2 more is what is going to make you grow. So, you know, people make fun. I have a rubber floor. I have some rubber weights, and I drop the weights. Sometimes I throw them across the room. But you know why? Because I want to scream by the end of that set. Because every week I'm pushing myself harder and harder. So if you can go through the whole workout through the motions and it doesn't hurt, you're not doing it right. So just push yourself every week and embrace that pain and learn to go past that point when most people would stop, and that's when you'll have great results.
Very cool. Hey, well, thanks everybody for being on the call tonight. Again, if you weren't with us at the beginning or you stuck with us now, really, it's a big family. Tag us, tag other people in the group. You know, find someone with similar goals as you, and you know, you can kind of be accountability partners and push yourself harder than you would. But yeah, again, make sure you tag us, message us. There's tons of posts a day, so things get missed. So please don't, you know, think we're purposefully ignoring you if we happen not to see something or if somebody else doesn't. But you know, there'll be really good things out of round 2. There was really cool things out of round 1, and just I'm excited to see what a year brings. So again, thank you for hanging out tonight, and you know, keep beasting up.
Thanks,
all right.
David.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Later, guys.